watching it. I was like taking pictures about every 20 minutes trying to figure out, is it getting bigger? I'm not sure. So what happened last night is that this skirt-like structure, it's called a spathe, that opened up. It was kind of closed up and then it opened up last night. That happens when the female flowers are ready to be pollinated. So this is a big flower that's made up of lots of little flowers. So along this stick-like structure in the middle called the spadix, there's male flowers and female flowers lined up along that spadix. And so last night, the female flowers were mature. They were ready to be pollinated. So they're pollinated by flies and beetles. The flies and beetles aren't interested in the flower whatsoever. They're interested in laying their eggs in rotting animal carcasses. So the flower takes on the characteristics of a dead animal. That spathe is the color of rotting meat. This spadix generates heat, so it's the temperature of a dead animal. And of course, there's the smell. It smells like a dead animal. So the flies and beetles can smell that from over a mile away, and they'll come in to try to lay their eggs. Of course, there's no dead animal there. So then today, over the course of the day, the spathe is starting to close back up again. Tonight, the male flowers will mature and start producing pollen. So then the flies and the beetles are gonna have to climb up out of the flower, and their bodies will get covered in the pollen on their way out. And so then they carry that pollen off to another flower. We've never had a bloom before here at the UCR Botanical Gardens, so we don't have pollen on hand, and of course there's no other flowers around here blooming. So we're gonna collect pollen tonight. They're gonna collect pollen tonight. I'm not taking credit for that. I'm going home before they do that. They're gonna collect pollen tonight and they're gonna freeze it so that when we get another bloom, they can pollinate that one with the pollen from this flower. So when you get inside, you're gonna see 3 pots in the display area. You're here for the big flower, but there's gonna be a pot next to it that has a short, like about 2 foot tall thing. It looks like a squat palm tree. That's the leaf for the plant. That's what the plant looks like normally. So it produces a leaf each year, and that leaf grows, it does photosynthesis, and then it has this structure underground called a corm, which is kind of like a big giant potato underground. And all the energy from that plant goes into that corm. The leaf will die back each year. It'll make a new leaf next year. That'll do photosynthesis, put more energy into that corm. And then when there's enough energy in the corm, then it can make a flower. So in the wild, it'll make a flower about every 7 to 10 years. Little Miss Stinky is 22 years old, and she's just flowering for the first time. You take your time reproducing, that's okay, not till you're ready, right? The one that's in the vegetative state, it's also 22 years old and has never flowered. So it's about 2 feet tall. Little Miss Stinky's leaf last year was about 10 feet tall. I'll move them in a minute.
How was it?
There's also a third pot. It's only got the tip of the plant sticking up out of the pot. We don't know if that's going to be a leaf or a flower. Oh, we're hoping. If it is a flower, we can use her pollen to pollinate that flower and then hopefully generate some seeds. That one's 27 years old and hasn't flowered yet, but we're very optimistic. We're hopeful.
No, I don't think. Okay, I'm going to ask that nobody leans over. You don't want to be on film for everybody to see you knocking over the flower. Yeah. I mean, it's so afraid every time I go in there to measure it or water it or something, I'm so afraid I'm going to klutz and knock it over.